Hello, it's Melissa R. Thompson, or M for short, and despite my social anxiety, I was a theater kid. Admittedly, it was only for one play, but I think it counts. I never had a major speaking role, but I did work behind the scenes. I was in charge of painting the sets, and during the play, I would be part of the team that transitioned to the next scene. It was one play, but I still hold the memories close, and I like to share them. But before I continue the video, I want to quickly introduce the art in the background, which is a speed paint of my ongoing comic called Freddy Pays Taxes, which is unfortunately not really about Freddy paying taxes to the IRS. But if you're interested, then check out my Tumblr, link in description. Choosing to join theater was a random decision. Cross country had just ended, and I didn't want to join track and field for the next season, mostly because my ankles couldn't handle running on the pavement, and because I couldn't be picked up until after 5 o'clock, so I naturally looked for another after-school program. The reason I even considered joining theater was because one of my friends had joined and convinced me to try it out too. The reason being because it was her first time auditioning. This friend, let's call her Alice, was also the one who would let me stay at their house in the morning because I would be dropped off at 5 in the morning and the school wasn't usually open by then. So it seemed inconsequential to go and just be there if Alice was nervous about her first audition, and I did know some other actors auditioning. I had nothing better to do, so why not? The other clubs didn't really seem interesting, and they already had their own friend groups, so I signed on to help with the backstage crew. The first day was eye-opening because for the first meeting, I didn't really notice how much work was done in the background. The number of jobs that had to be filled were more than I thought. We had costume designers, prop makers, scene painters, scene construction. I had no idea what else to call it, but they built the background, and lighting. That also controlled the music and sound. And as much as I was interested in the costume designer department, I am not someone who you look at and say, ah yes, that person definitely knows fashion and can definitely design outfits for a play. So I signed up to paint the sets. For the first couple of meetings, it was mostly planning as we were performing Alice in Wonderland. I gave encouraging words to my friend as she auditioned for the main role, Alice. Now you know why I gave her the name Alice. You heard that right, it was her first time auditioning, her first time joining theater, and she auditioned for the main role. I honestly thought it was crazy. Another reason I signed up for backstage, and for a very minor role involving one line. Alice was better and braver than me, and I think it was due to her big go-getter attitude. And I say this with no malice. I think she was better at everything than me. She was kind, smart, and talented, and I often looked up to her. And lo and behold, she got the part. I was shocked, but I was more shocked at how long her script was. I knew it was one of the main roles, but how can you remember that many lines? I had to write my script and read it word for word. I would be so nervous. I salute her bravery. As I mentioned already, I already had another friend in theater. Her name was Cheshire, because that's the role she got in the play. I knew Cheshire from my friend group, but this was the first time we actually hung out outside of class. She was an amazing artist, more specifically a special effects artist. She would make these awesome wounds with a Molag kit. I actually do not know how to say that. Let me get my phone real quick.
Molage.
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 Molage. She would make these awesome wounds with a Molage kit, and they looked super convincing. I once asked her to make a cut on my palm because at the time I was super into Supernatural, and in the show the brothers would cut their palm for blood to use in rituals. So it was like being Hunter, which was pretty badass to high school me. I was always happy to be a canvas if she wanted to practice her special effects. Unlike Alice, she had been in theater a lot more and would be the one training the other actors. For the first couple of days I had been following her when I was lost, until she introduced me to the lead set designer. I had seen her a couple of times in the halls, and she was a senior and a well-known painter at school. Her art would always be displayed in the glass case at the entrance of the school. She was tall and she had a wolf-cut haircut, and I desperately wanted one on my own head. Her clothes were slightly baggy, but they matched her style so well. I'll name her Najune, a befitting Navajo name. Cheshire vouched for me, and I was named her assistant. You hear that? I was her assistant. Any work she had, I was able to add or finish her work. But before that, I had to prove I could handle the job. So she assigned me a small project, which was the mushroom for the scene with the caterpillar. It was a wooden cutout of the mushroom with a stool behind it so the actor could sit on it. This first project freaked me out, because of course I wanted to prove myself. I had been admiring her work from afar and I just wanted to make a good impression. So I started, but a bit slow. I wanted it to be perfect, and in time it took me to finish one mushroom. Najuna had finished 3 for the background. She inspected my work after I was finished, and she did tell me that I did a good job. But then she showed me the 3 other mushrooms she had finished, and I was a bit ashamed of how long I took. And then she proceeded to put my mushroom near hers, and then we walked off the stage to stand where the audience would be, and she asked me if I could see all the details I had put on the mushroom where we stood. I responded no. I think that was a big lesson I learned while working with her. We were on a time limit and things needed to be done, and while the quality of the sets wasn't perfect, the audience wouldn't be able to tell. I also forgot to mention that while I was being a friggin' beta and using a brush, she was painting her sets with her hands like a Giga Chad. So after the revelation, I had also started using my hands and would pour paint on the wooden sets when I colored. A little life hack that made painting much faster. I think it was close to the deadline and Najuna had to work, so she couldn't stay the whole time to finish sets. So guess who she trusted to finish the sets? Me, baby. She still assigned the projects and I was allowed to add to them. And what did I do with this power? I painted butterflies in the background and my favorite flowers at the time. Sunflowers. I don't think I can put into words how cocky I got when I could tell the other set designers what had to be done and what could be changed. Side note, I didn't really change anything as Najuna's original vision was already great. Najuna didn't really talk to me that much, or anyone, but being in her presence was cool in its own right. And I will repeat this for the rest of my life. I was the one she chose to trust, and that was a big boost to my artistic talent that I needed. I could continue to talk about how the play went, but I feel like this script is a bit long and I could easily put this into 2 parts. So I'll do that. Thanks for watching the video. I missed last week's upload because I watched Kung Fu Panda 4 and I had some thoughts. Spoiler, I didn't like it and I started rewriting the story on a whim. Is the rewrite better? I don't know. I guess you'll have to wait till I'm done writing it out. And as always, if the artwork in the background interests you at all, then I will direct your attention to the description. All my socials will be down there, but I strongly suggest that you visit my Tumblr, as it's the only place you can find most of my comics organized. And with that, I hope you be safe and have a good day. Bye-bye!